Hi everyone, so this is actually going to be a very short video because yes, I think from what based on what I see is actually 30 minutes left on the recording footage. So I have been making quite a lot of videos recently because some of my students actually finished their exams, and I also have a few students who are actually also finishing soon. There might be some occasions when we actually meet up and everything, but just to continue and everything, but still, there's gonna be a lot of like breaks in between and everything. And one other student whom I actually tutor at the tertiary level for writing is actually resuming experience. So there's a lot of changes in the schedule and everything. So, but I just want to talk a little bit more about the topic of the effect that the narcissist has on your feelings and your emotions. Okay, this is something that I've been talking about a lot over uh, last year and this year, especially over the point of at the beginning of this year, and I actually just stopped for a while because I wanted to focus on other things, and I was really busy and everything, and then I went off for a short holiday to Taiwan. And yeah, I mean things have been picking up, and then now I'm back to allow again. So and then after that, the choking incident, which was not a very good one. Okay, meaning that I have to actually go for a follow up on Wednesday, just make sure that there's nothing, no infection and everything. So I want to just talk a little bit more about this sense of restlessness that actually happens right after narcissistic abuse. So I know that for most people, people don't realize this, but restlessness, the constant sense when you're actually rushing here and there from one place to another, or that you need to keep busy no matter what. This is actually a trauma response. Okay, this is a trauma response that ensues from being abused by someone, especially a narcissist. Okay, why do I say that? Okay, if we were to go back to the Pete Walker's From Surviving to Thriving, he actually lays out the standard four responses to crisis, and not just crisis but emergency and situations of danger. Yes, situations of danger. So there's a fight. The basic one that we all know is called the fight, and or if not, the other alternative is the flight response. But there's also freeze and fawn, FAW and fawn, meaning that we try to please someone. So the thing is this, with the flight response or the freeze response, there is a refusal to face the issue in either of these two responses, especially in the flight response. So that's what happens when you keep on running and running and running. You run away from the problem. When you run away from the problem, one way of doing so is actually to keep yourself so busy with anything but the need to face that issue. So you say, oh, I need to work, I need to work, I need to work, I need to do this thing, I need to get money, and uh, it's kind of strange because I know that one friend of mine, when he's now doing some coaching or transition coaching, and yeah, he was working with Mind Valley and everything. So he used to say that when he was actually working in his own uh, cafe business, or it's an organic cafe in the USA. He wasn't exactly making. I mean, he put in a lot of money. He thought that the investment would yield some returns because there's a kind of like a demand for such stuff. And after a while, he realized, after he went to Malaysia for a few years just to work with Mind Valley, he said, money was always going out. He's spending a lot, and he hoped that he would get the returns from that, but he didn't get back anything, and he was always worrying about money. So the whole thing about worrying and facing the problem, the more you worry about something, the more you actually end up not solving it, and you get busier as well. He kept on saying that, he realized one trend was that he kept on working and working and working just to get the money, but he was never really exactly making enough. Now I think that the kind of, now that he's a father, he got remarried again the second time. Yeah, and things have changed a lot. And but that thing he said about this attitude of restlessness, the need to keep busy and working non-stop just to get something, I think this is something, especially as a trauma response, this is very telling for us who have been through uh, narcissistic abuse. And I think that I've I I myself actually have been very much guilty of this myself. When I was working as in fitness instructor, personal trainer in the first 6 to 7 months, 6 to 7 months, just right after the discard. So the first 5 months in the health center, the gym, from starting from, let's say, not five, is let's say about four, from sometime in August, yeah, or late July into the end of December. Yeah, it was like kind of a very rough 4 or 5 months. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it's 5 months. So the thing was this. I gave a 2 weeks notice, 2 months notice. But the thing is, was just that, within the first few months, I came out asking. I keep on being so busy. I was working almost like, it was 6 days actually. It was you say it's 5.5 days, but 5.5. But even on weekends, one weekend can be Saturday or Sunday. It's like when you end at 5 p.m., you start around, let's say, 10. It doesn't feel like it's not a half day. It's still a very long day. It's like 7 hours or so. And so, ultimately you just wonder, I don't have a break during the week. I work almost every day, and on 8 hour shifts, and my money was never coming in. Money was never coming in. And then I start, that's also the point when I actually met some other extra, like people and new people. And one or two would be like, flying monkeys related to the last narcissistic person in my life. And that was in 2016. Thankfully now it's over. I don't actually get to meet such people. And I have more better priorities in life as well. But I realized that this thing is this: when you are so busy rushing here and there, you're constantly working, you keep yourself busy with so many things, uh, you never really get to a destination actually. To be honest, you never ever get to a destination, because at that point in time, you are simply in flight mode, okay? Or you are in freeze mode. Freeze meaning that you refuse to stay there. You don't want to even go and face that situation. It's either flight or freeze instead of fight or yeah. And it's not a very good situation. Yeah, generally it's not the healthiest, but this sense of restlessness is very, very dangerous. I realized that myself. First I was in like one Anytime Fitness chain and the franchise. Then after the first 5 months, I went on to this Fitness First, which was like I think it was an Australian company, whatever. But it was only barely 2 months, and then, or even 1.5 months, and then I was out of the company. It was an abortive effort, but I realized at the end of it, nothing came out of it. And then after that, I went on to this tuition center, which was like also like 6 months. My sister said, at least 6 months is quite long. I said, yeah, but considering again, I was so busy again, 5.5 days, one weekend, and like, is it 5.5 days or 4.5 days? I think. Oh yeah, there were 5.5 days. Yeah, because um, there was one day where I actually, on a weekday, when I actually had an off day, but the rest I really worked, really long hours. So again, the thing was this: I had to work most weekends. One weekend was full time, and Sundays was like maybe from 9 to 12 or 1 p.m. It was ridiculous. And again, it's the same thing. Uh, I think that my mental health really suffered very badly. And I mean, now is I'm not saying that I'm any better, because I can't go to church on Sundays, except on days when I don't have any classes, but which are really rare. And but at the same time, I'm very, very thankful, because if I'm not even working or anything at all, I don't have any money. But at least I know that there's one whole day when I simply don't do anything, and that's actually Monday. I make sure to keep it free. If there are any extra free days like Fridays or Wednesday, I also try to rest. And I actually, yeah, the therapies kind of thing, I mean, really helps. But anyway, back to the whole thing. So restlessness is actually a very unhealthy trauma response, but it happens a lot. So how do we deal with that? Okay, now I don't have much time, but let's just go to it. I told everyone that at one point in time I had some kind of strange revelation. While it was a very weird revelation. It was in 2016 or so, 2015 actually, when I was just like, in the middle of that narcissistic relationship. Yeah. And I while looking out, I saw, the someone running, and I was like, something just said, "Don't run." There was a voice screaming in my head, "Don't run." I have no idea where it came from. It could be my head telling me that, or it could be a higher how God telling me that. I don't know, but I know for sure one thing: I was actually not facing my issues with being my vulnerability, everything, and that made me really, really vulnerable to abuse and manipulation. So yeah, I think it's very important. One way to do it, I've been telling people about this. We have to find time for ourselves and start. And when we find time for ourselves, we should be focusing on basically being with ourselves, asking ourselves, what our blind spots are and how we are going to actually really, slow down and resolve it. Okay. So sometimes, I do this, by traveling, but it's not very always the best when we can only travel maybe once or twice a year, especially for my case, because of the students, everything. So but I think we need a space. And so today I actually went off to the marketplace just to, sit down for a while, do all these things, like but I think this Wednesday I have to do other stuff again, which includes going to the hospital. And next week I'm going to see the psychologist again. And I might be hearing from the counselor again on Friday because of my social isolation problem, which is another example of the flight response. I don't really get to see people, I avoid them. So but anyway, that's it for now. So I'll just keep everyone aware of how it goes and everything. And I hope everyone actually manages to find time just to, work on yourself. Don't get too busy or restless. Okay, it's not healthy for you. Okay, bye bye.